Good evening. My name is Kwabena. Welcome to the discussion that I have today. I am talking about school, job, entrepreneurship. I'm talking about school, job, entrepreneurship. Every now and then, almost every day, you hear people talk about school. You hear people talk about job. You hear people talk about want to start a company, want to start a business, want to start something on their own. I think every one of them is legitimate, but our ability, the accuracy of our decision to place whichever where is very important, especially with the young people. What do they understand by school and going to school? If you look at our parents and grandparents, they place a lot of importance on school. They place a lot of it on school. So you have to go to school, you have to go to school, you have to go to school. There's a little that they place on your gift, your passion, your vision. They didn't. They just knew that you just had to go to school so that you could read, you could write, because most of them could not read, could not write. So it's a novelty. It was a phenomenon for them to just go to school from South 7, like the way they used to say them, and go to secondary school and to become something. So you could see a cocoa farmer who would tell the children go to school, and usually it was the men that they sent to school. So they would send them to school, and they could become teachers, they could become lawyers, they could become, the things that school will make them to become. And they place so much importance. The father or the daughter could read the letter, could sign, could read a book, was that much important to them. And then they link that to, getting that school training and then having a job along the school that they went. So if they went to training college, for instance, then eventually they will become teacher. If they went to school to study law, for instance, then they will become like that. And those were the culture of the day. Most of us, our parents and grandparents, this is what was the norm. And then it came to the modern day. The modern day graduate and is thinking of school, is thinking of job, and then what they are adding now, a lot of them are talking about starting a business, entrepreneurship, and things like that. How do you separate the three? How do you separate the school, and how much importance you place on the school? How do you treat the job, and how do you place the importance that you have on the job? And then the entrepreneurship. Almost everybody wants to start something. They say that, oh, there's money in it. Anytime you meet somebody, they say, what do you do? They say, oh, we do business, we have companies. So, you guys are the rich ones, you have money, there's money, we will follow your steps. There's a bit of misunderstanding of the three, among the three: the school, the job, and what they call entrepreneurship. So I think that school is important. It helps us to read, to write, and it helps us to at least get an expanded mind. We are able to gather information, and the school is likely to give us a profession. So if you went to school to study engineering, it's likely that you have a profession called engineering. If you studied, say, nursing, you try to practice as a nurse, a doctor. That is school. And then from the school, the what we call job. I think that every human would have to have some kind of a job, a career. But in every industry, you have the people who created the structure around the industry. So for instance, if you go to farming, and you have somebody with a company that's into, say, cocoa farming, it's in a big scale. That person has a farming business, and then they have employees, people who have jobs in that business. Or you say, let's go to maybe a construction company. You have somebody who has created a construction company, and then you have people who work in that industry, so they have a job in that industry. There is one thing to know, that I'm looking for a job to get paid, to get salary, to have a livelihood. And there is another thing to know, that I have gifts, I have passion for this particular kind of jobs. And so when I go in with my persona, with my gift, with my passion. I may not be the one who establish a business with that kind of industry. You know, I have passion to be, say, in the film industry. And so somebody gives me a job, I work with a production company, we produce movies. I have passion for that. And so I want to work there. In that case, I'm in an industry, not just for the salary, but because I think that I have natural gift to be in the movie industry, in the film production industry. There is somebody in that industry as well who has the business. He has a fashion, he has a movie production company in that. So you can have people who have job in particular industries, and then you have people who have created those businesses, those jobs. If you go into a particular industry just because you want a salary, that is different from when you enter into the industry. You may not be the person who has created a business, but you just have passion for that industry. That's why you did not go to be in the farming sector, or you did not go to work in the mining sector, or you did not go to work in the retail sector, but you wanted to be in the movie production sector. Why? Because you think that you have gift for it. And so you have people who work in the industries, they are employed there. And you have people who have the ability, or the life that they have lived have prepared them to start businesses in these industries. They are different. There's one thing when you meet somebody who is just looking for a job because he wants money. And there's another thing when you meet somebody who is looking for a job in a particular industry because they think that's where their strength is, that's where their passion is. They think that they want to solve problems in that kind of industry. There is difference in that. So when you meet people, when you even talk about entrepreneurship, for instance, it's not just that you just have to start a business because you want money. No. When we talk about that, we talk about the fact that you have passion for business. You have passion for a particular product. You have passion for a particular service that you want to solve problems for society with those services or with those products. And that is what is pushing you to become an entrepreneur or to start a business. There has to be clarity among all these areas. People are saying that you should start business. Yes, it's good, but you should know that you have that passion. You see problems to solve. You see problems that you have to solve in that particular industry. That's why you are not, maybe your business isn't say you are into painting. You're not just into painting because there's money. You are into painting because you think that you have passion. There's a way that you can paint that the other person cannot paint. You see a lot of problems in the way houses are painted, and therefore you want to go in. There's one thing with the gift. So you can be employed in a painting company and do your painting well and do fantastic job and still solve problems. Or you can start a painting company yourself to solve particular problems. There are separations in that. Each of them can be done by a system, okay, by where you start a company and you build a company to solve a particular problem. Or maybe you don't have that strength to start a company, or you have not taken your time to develop that strength, because to run a company is no joke. If you employ the company, is entirely different from when you are in charge of the company. They are different words altogether. They don't meet anywhere. Because when you're employed in a company, you just have one particular duty. You may be the finance person, you may be the project person, you may be the manager of the operations department. But when you are responsible for the business, it's not just one thing. It's everything. You have to have the ability to lead. You have to have the ability to understand numbers, systems. You have to be able to withstand opposition, disagreement, errors. You know, there's a lot that you have to understand. When you are responsible for the company, that's what. You know, so we are talking about school, we are talking about job, and we are talking about entrepreneurship. You don't just get up to go to school. You know, so the basics, the primary, the junior high, the senior high, those are normal, especially the primary and the junior secondary. But when you get to the senior secondary, you don't just go. There should be a way that you know that I want to do geography. What is it that I want to do? Physics. There should be something that you know that you have particular talent for, a particular subject at the second level. It's not just going to school like they told us. And then when you go to the university as well, it's not just the course has jobs. When you finish that course, you get a job. That's why you do that course. No. And that's why there is a lot of confusion. You do that course because you have natural inclination for that course. So if you don't want anything to do with engineering, because you can't see yourself as somebody who is practicing as an engineer, but maybe you have passion to practice for crops, for farming, then you go and study agric, because you may want to start a business in agric, or you may want to get a job in agric. And I think that's where the major problem is. So you don't just go to school to study law because it's fanciful, everybody's becoming law. Do you see yourself as somebody who is having a law firm, or somebody who is working in a prominent law firm that is going to solve particular problems for society? Or you just want a job so that you can get big pay? And that's where the frustration is. So the school, actually, you don't just decide to go to school. You decide to go to school based on the aspirations that you have for your life. So you don't just go to read anything in the university because they told you to go and read anything in the university, and when you finish, you get a job and get money. I think that the problem is solved at the primary level, where the secondary, where you are able to identify your talent, your gift, the things that you see, the problems that you see around society, where you think that you can fit yourself to solve them. In that case, when you get to the job sector, you're not just thinking of picking a job just for the salary. Of course, if there is nothing on the table and you have no food to eat and you have to take care of yourself and your family and everything, you can pick a job only for the money. But the job that will make meaning and that you will live, you have a satisfying life and you have a meaningful and purposeful life, is the job that you pick according to the gifts and the inclinations that you have. So if you have, and especially if you also had training in that, and so maybe you are coming from the school, you studied carpentry, and when you are out of school, you are not the one going to look for a job in farming. You studied the carpentry because you like it, you have passion for it, you think that you can do a lot of creation with that, and then when you come out of the school, you are looking for a place to work with the carpentry, or you want to start a business in the carpentry. That is the school, actually. That is the school. So you don't just go to pick any course in the school, and then when you finish, you went to do sociology, psychology, and you have no passion for it, just because they told you to go to school to get a degree. Now you have the degree, and you're confused because you did not pick the right one. And I think that's what a lot of things happen with the graduates. So they go to pick a job just because of the money, not because they had professional training in it, and which the training should have based on the talent and the gifts and the aspirations, the things that they think that their life is about. That's what they should have been. They should have been training in the school, and that's where they look for a job in that. And that, for me, that's what solves the thing that, I've worked hard, now I want to start a business because I've heard that there's money in business. Even when it comes to business or when it comes to entrepreneurship, you don't just start anything. You don't just start anything because you think that there's money in it. You start a business in things that you see problems in society that you think that you have the passion to solve. So if you see that the waste is your concern, and you cannot just be an employee in the waste, you think that you have to start a business in that, and you have the gift, the passion, the aspiration, the capacity to run a company in that. You start the waste company knowing that the society has to have somebody to solve problems in that line. And I think those are the people who are able to build business skills to solve major problems for society. But if you just started a business because you thought that there's money in it, that's where the problem is. Because there was no sense of purpose, there's no sense of vision, there's no sense of direction. And that's why a lot of people create problems. And until they correct that. Yes, you may have started a business that way, but at a point you have to restart. Send it to default, so to say. Go to the back, go to the history to say that if I were to start this again, what industry would I start? Would I start in? Do I have the passion? Do I have the clarity? Because the industry that you start in, if you have the passion, the gift, the inclination for that kind of industry, you will see that there is a lot of creativity. You're able to come up with a lot of systems and product and better services, because your nature is built for that. The way you see life is from, so business actually, that's why you see somebody building great businesses in the technology sector, and another person builds great business in the finance sector, another person builds great business in the engineering sector, because most of those guys were built for those kind of industries. That's why they're able to succeed. So any of us who just start any business anyhow, you see that we don't become great in just any business. You become great in a business that you were equipped, you were gifted, and where you started to grow yourself. Because when you start a business in areas that you are gifted and areas that you have natural flair for, those areas you become great in that faster, because you're able to study more, equip yourself more, because you have that natural flair for it, natural tendency for it. That's why you don't get tired. That's why you can put a lot of hours in it, because you are gifted that way. And so the school, you pick the school because of your natural gift, the course, and then you pick the job the same way for that, not just for the money, but for that. And so that's why they say that the money, even though it's important, is nowhere close to the sense of purpose that you have to have for the school, for the job, and even when you want to start a business for the same. And if you have that sense of purpose, you are able to separate yourself. Do you have that sense, that gift? Do you have that natural ability to build a business? Or I just have to work with somebody or for somebody who has been able to build business in that area that I think I have gift for? So somebody can become a teacher. He likes teaching too much, but somebody would have to create the school for them to work in that school. It does not mean that the other person who started the business in running a school is better. It's just that that person that may have developed more strength, more skill in knowing how a business is run, how a business is built. So every sector of society, you can enter there to get a job, or you can start a business in that. But those who succeed and who keep succeeding, and those who come out with better products, better services, are people who entered knowing that they had something to offer in that industry. So you can be employed in an industry, and you know that I was equipped. This is where I have my beat. So you can be an architect, for instance. You know that you are very good with the drawings. You know that you can conceptualize things. You can design something that can solve a lot. So you may not have the equipment, so to say. You may not have the personality to start an architectural business, but you may have the gift to be a very good architect working in an architectural firm which was not started by you. So there is difference. There is difference in the school, in the job that you're taking, and in the one who is able to start a business in any sector. That's why you meet people and say, oh yeah, what do you do? I have a business. Oh, then I want to start a business. No, you don't just want to start a business. You should know what kind of industry that you want to start a business, and are you equipped to even handle the pressure of business, or you are the kind who would want to work in a business. Are you that kind who would want to just work in a business, or a company that somebody has created, or you are the kind that can start? And so you don't just start a business anyway. If you had the right knowledge, you will start the business in an area that you train for, in an area that most likely you had the passion for, you had the gift for, you had your personality was developed for that kind of industry. That's why every businessman that you see who has grown a quality, well-established business properly had passion for that kind of industry. So they solve problems in that industry, and they solve them, and they continue to solve them. And you can also have a job in industries because you solve problems, but somebody has built a business structure and you work in that, and you are not in competition with that person who started the structure, because you may not have that strength to have started that business in the first place. So we have a lot of people coming out of our schools every year. And the last time I checked on National Accreditation Board on Ghana's, they had at least about 200 and something tertiary related institutions. So let's assume every one of them is producing 1,000 graduates, maybe off balance. It means that you are producing not less than 200,000 or even more, because some of them could produce more than that, some of them could produce less than that. It means that the training that you are giving them in the school should not just be just finish school or just come and take any course and finish. The course should be relevant to where the society is and where the society is going, and the course should be relevant to your gift and to how you see life. So you don't just go to school and go to school and go to school thinking that once you finish the school there's something there for you, because the reality is that the structure of our economy is still going through a lot of changes, and the jobs are not being created according as they don't commensurate with the number of graduates that we are producing every year. And part of it is because of the structure of the economy, the thinking, the culture, and everything. So we are yet to go through the industrial revolution, so to say, where a lot of people will be able to create jobs and take and employ people in big numbers. We are yet to go through that. So when you are going to school, have that in mind. It's not just about school. Some people are working. They have no money. They are coming from background that parents don't have much, and yet they save money. Maybe they have first degree or something. They save a lot of money to go and get a second degree, and they don't have any money at all. I think that you don't have to, and sometimes they leave the job to just go to school. I think that's an error. I think that if you have no money and you have no parental support, keep the job, and if you want to go to school, go to school. But you see, part of it is because of the lack of clarity as to what school is and the importance that they place on school, and what job is and the importance that they place on job. Because a lot of them think that job is just going to work for money, and a lot of them think that going to school is just to go to school so that you can become somebody who will work to get a lot of money. That is where the problem is. That is where the problem is. So school is not just going to school to become anything. School is actually to inspire your mind and to live out of the talent and the aspirations that you think you can give to this world. You know, and getting a job is also, you get a job in an area that you think your passion, your talent, your gift can contribute to this life. It's not the manifest. It's only the manifest when you don't have what to eat, what to drink. You know, so if you can get what to eat, what to drink, the next phase of job is not just the salary. It's the contribution that you are making with your gift to society. You know, so somebody will create that business that you work in, or maybe if you are the one who can create a business, you will create a business to work with that talent, with that passion. So finding a job does not come easily. That's the truth. Finding a job in our economy does not come easily. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of work. It requires a lot of diligence, because the jobs are not just there, especially even the unskilled jobs, like being a bank clerk or just being working in any industry at all. It's not just there. Sometimes when you finish school and you are looking for a place to work, it's tough. Those are the facts, because we have produced more, and we have produced a lot of human beings, you know, and we are not creating the so-called jobs, and we have also not tuned the mind for people to start something on their own. And even if they have to start something on their own, they should look at starting something that will become relevant to society, not just starting something because you want to eat, starting something because you want money. And that's where the problem is. So that's why when people start any business, I thought they are ready to cut all kind of corners, because the reason they started the business is just for money. You know, finding a job is also tough, as I said. Going to school is not easy. Getting a job is tough. And so when you get a job and you're working, don't take it lightly, especially. And I think people take jobs lightly and they jump from one job to the other because they are confused of themselves. You get a job, and if you work in somewhere, you know that I have this talent to contribute to this industry. That's why I pick this kind of job. And people who don't have that kind of clarity, they are the ones jumping from one job to the other all the time, trying to look for salary, and they call it job satisfaction. Job satisfaction comes from you. You create it, because you would have known that I like this industry. I have what it takes to make a contribution in this industry. That's why I entered into it. So you came with your satisfaction. It's a mirage to be looking for job satisfaction. Nobody can give you satisfaction. You create the satisfaction yourself. So there's a lot of misunderstanding going around. You know, some people are trying to find satisfaction from getting certificates. No certificate will give you satisfaction. And no job will give you satisfaction. Actually, even business will not give you satisfaction unless you started that business knowing that this is an industry that I'm gifted in and I want to make contribution, I want to solve problems in society through this industry. So starting a business is that difficult and exponentially difficult, especially in this kind of economy that we have. So we are talking about school, job, and entrepreneurship. And I think that there's a bit of confusion as to the lines and how they are drawn. So people just, first degree and first primary school, kindergarten, primary school, junior high, every human, I think, born in this age needs that. And that's why our parents were infatuated, where they were mesmerized by school. So if they could not write, my grandmother, they say that I wish I went to school to be able to write and read. So it's good. Their understanding of school is just to read and write. And then their children came up to say that the essence of school is also to get a job. And they did not care whether they had the passion, the talent to a particular job. Once they went to school to be trained as teacher, they wanted to teach. Even if they had talent, they had no talent for it. And some of them could have gone back to help their parents on the farm, to grow the farm if they were taught. But no, because they had gone to school, they had become more polished. And so even if they didn't want to teach, or even if they didn't want to practice as lawyer or doctor, they were forced to do that because that was prestigious. And I think a lot of it is still in existence, where people go to school to get training in areas that they have no passion, they don't even see themselves become significant and contributing to society through that. But because of their understanding that I went to school, job, that is it. And the job is just a well-paying job. So people go to look for job, well-paying job. Beneath the well-paying job is the passion. Do I have the talent? Do I have the passion? Can I make a significant improvement, contribution to society? That's why you look for something. And that is where the satisfaction is. Nobody else can give you satisfaction. So you think people who if you are thinking through the school, if you are thinking through the job, if you are thinking through the business entrepreneurship, think creatively as to what kind of product that you can come up with, even if you are employed in an industry, or what kind of service, what kind of contribution can I bring? You may not be the one who has the strength to start a business, but you may be the one who has the ability to make contribution in that kind of industry. People have created a lot of changes in industries that they were gifted in to make. And even entrepreneurs, business people who knew that they were called into that kind of field, they create more. They change lives, they change destinies because they had that, or they have that kind of sense of purpose. So beyond the money is that sense of purpose. So you should be able to start from where you are if you are the one that you think you have passion to create business in particular kind of industry. You should be able to start where you are, and you should be able to separate just the money from you should just separate just the money. You want to start a business because of the money, and that is a popular norm. I want to do business because there's money in it. Amazing. Because it's not like that. You should be able to know that I have. How do you even decide what kind of industry you want to start? Is it just because they told you that there's money in it? That's why you want to go in, or because you have sat down, you have known yourself, you have seen the areas that you have training, and this is the kind of product, this kind of service that you can push it. Because until that, don't start anything anywhere. The only reason that you will start something like that is because of the money. Just like the other person who is looking for a better job because they want a better pay. And that is what creates the frustration. That's what creates the jealousy and the competition, because you did not go in with that sense that this is who I am, this is the gift that I have, this is the training that I have, and this is the contribution that I can make as a human being in this particular kind of industry. So I think that most so-called graduates should be thinking along this side. So you don't just looking for any job, you are looking for a job that you think you have talent for first. Even if you don't have the training, the required training, and you have the talent, the passion, and you can think creatively in that industry. It's better to work with your talent and your passion than just with the required formal training or the degree that you have in that field. And that is what creates the frustration, because you chose the degree because you thought you will find it easily to find a job, and you will have a better paying job in that kind of degree. So if you happen to have a job in an area that you think you have passion for. Work there, make contribution, make significant contribution. That is how we grow our country. Don't just get a job in areas because you think that you just need a livelihood pay. And that is why people get frustrated, because they just pick a job out of the pay. Beyond a certain point, it's not just the pay. Because as you grow, you think that your life should have had some kind of contribution to society. You should have made some kind of mark. But because you just pick jobs based on salary, and it's always the money, that's why the frustration sets in. Because there is separation between the job, between the salary and making the money. There is a big separation. So whoever told you that you just get a job and create money, or just get a business and create money, they have told you a lie. Because there's a certain amount of knowledge that you need to create finances. There's a certain amount, whether you're employed or whether you have a business. So until you have that certain amount of knowledge, you cannot create the finances. So no amount of pay can solve that until you have a certain amount of skill, a certain amount of financial knowledge before you can create financial independence. So that is independent of jobs. That's why no matter how many times people have hopped from one job to the other, their financial situations don't change much, because what was needed in the first place was not just the job, but there was a basic financial understanding, financial skills that they needed. So that's why you separate that. The finances are entirely different from the school, from the job, and sometimes from even the business. Because you can own a business, it does not mean you're going to be rich, because there's a certain amount of knowledge that you need to have for you to create the money. So just as there's a certain amount of knowledge that you need to have about yourself, your gift, your passion, what you have to contribute into this life. Until you have that kind of knowledge, you will not be able to know what kind of course that you have to even pick, what kind of job that you have to even pick, and what kind of business or society or organization that you have to even start, because you have limited knowledge of yourself. You have limited knowledge of yourself. So when you have limited knowledge of yourself, you will not be able to create the relevant part or take the relevant part when it comes to the school, when it comes to the job, and when even it comes to business. And when you have limited knowledge in the finances, same. You confuse the finances with the job, you confuse the finances with the course that you're choosing from school, and you confuse the finances with even the business or the kind of business that you start. And for me, these things are separate. So you study yourself, you study the finances, and you study the school and why the need for that school, why the need for that degree. Why do you need that kind of degree? You should know. If the sole reason is money, it's not going to work. It's not true. Go and look. There are a lot of doctors who are broke, lawyers who are broke. There are a lot of business people who are struggling, because what creates money is not just the job, not just the business, but there's a certain amount of financial knowledge that you need. And if you did not have that, you need to create that. And that is separate from the school. There's a certain amount of understanding that you have to have, so that you know. Because when people are working, they think that going to school will solve. That's why a lot of people, they work and say, I want to go to school. So they stop the work and they go to school. And when they finish the school, they came back and they receive the same kind of salary. That is even if they had a job at all. Because school has a particular role. Your ability to understand how clearly what the school is and the importance you attach to it. The degrees, there's certain kind, because you get the degrees. For instance, if I'm academic, I want to have passion to. That's why even if you're academic, you can't just teach anything. That's why when you're even choosing thesis for your master's or for your PhD, you choose along the things that you think that you have passion for, or it will be just a dragging force on you. You know, so the ability to understand who you are, your personal inclination, your gift, will have a long way to do with the kind of school you go, the kind of course that you pick, and the kind of, people going back to get degree. You meet some people, they have about 10 certificates in everything. That is a man who is confused. He doesn't know himself. So they are trying to find themselves in the certificates. It never works. And some of them are trying to look for money in going to school. It doesn't work like that. It's not true. That's ignorance. Same with the job. You see somebody looking for a job every day, jumping from one job to the other. They are never satisfied because they are looking for a better paying job. It doesn't work like that. Just minimum change. What if the reason is money? You have to go and study money and how it is made. And that's why you can also meet somebody who is starting business. One day this business, tomorrow this business. They hear that somebody has started business, they go for it. Why? Because they did not study themselves and what business they can build, and they did not study the finances as well. So they are trying to confuse a lot of things. They don't know themselves, they don't know the finances, and they don't even know why you start business in the first place. So you separate the three: the school, the job, and the business if you have to start one. You know, and if you happen to have a job, be thankful. That's why, because it's tough to start a business. And so somebody starts a business and they employ you, don't just go there because you need money. You go there because you're needed there. You go in with a force. You say that I came here because I've studied this industry. This is the contribution that I can make in this industry. That's why you come there to work. Or your life will be very boring. Because if you are just receiving money and you're not making any contribution, you're not extracting anything, you're not coming out with new ideas, new way of doing things to change things, you'll just be frustrated. And that's why people get frustrated. And that's why people turn into thieves, because they think that just getting that job will give them money. It's not like that. Getting that job will not just get you money. The money is always separate from the school, it's separate from the job, and the money is always separate from even the business that you start. The money stands on its own. It's a whole realm. So you can be anything and still create money, because your understanding of money is different. The same with the school and you understanding yourself. If you confuse yourself with the school, with the job, with the business, to be chaotic. And you can see that a lot of people are like that. So every year they change job. They're jumping from here to here to here to here just because they want better money. No. There should be a basic understanding of yourself as a person, what gift you have, and what contribution you can make in society. And there should be understanding of money and the role that you play and how it is made. And that should never be confused with the school that you're going, with the job that you're looking for, and with the business that you even start. Because the school is based on your understanding of yourself. At a certain point, from the secondary level, you don't just go to school to choose anything just because you need money. That's what the problem is. You go to school to choose a course because you have that passion and that contribution that you think you can make to society. That's why you choose that course. You know, and the prospects that you can create for society. And the same with the job. You don't just pick any job because of salary. You pick a job based on the training, based on the gift that you have. And the same way with business. Don't just start any business because they are saying there is money in it. That's a proof that you have weak financial understanding and how money is made. Because so that you start construction company, you close it because they said the money is in salt business, and so you go and start salt business, you close it and the money is not coming. You go to mining company, you start it is not coming, then you go to all kind of, because you have not understood the reason that you have to start a business. You start a business with what you see, what is unique with you, and the abilities that you think you can bring, the creation, the products that are unique to you, your thinking, the way you see life, the problems that you can solve. That is why you pick any of these, the problems that you can solve based on the personality that you have, based on the gift that you have, based on the way you see lives, based on the value that you can add to society. That's why you choose that school, the degrees that you chose, the job that you choose, even the business that you start. This is the reason. And those are separate from how money is made. Yes, there is a higher tendency that you can get a lot of wealth by starting business. But that itself is not true until you start that business with that natural understanding that this is me and I can create a better pen than this, based on how I see life and how I see the need for this. So I'm creating this not because I need money, but I'm creating this first to solve problems in society. And if I continue to grow myself and know how to build systems around it, then I'll be able to create wealth out of that. So even when we encourage people to start to be entrepreneurs, it's not just for the money. It's just because you are looking for a problem to solve. And if that problem is in uniform or is in link with your destiny, with your passion, with your gift, then you can start that. Then you can start that. You can start to produce that product. You can start to produce that service that will help society to grow. So it's not just about starting a business. You start a business based on the things that you can solve, the problems that you can identify and solve. And those kind of people who start business with that thinking are always innovating. They are always steady. They are always becoming better. That's why you see any huge business person who started with nothing, It's likely this is how this problem, and they had the gift for, they had that sense of purpose and destiny, and they started to learn how a business is built and how that product, that service can benefit mankind. And so if you even at the job level, even if you cannot think of starting a business, that job that you have, what is it that you can push to change society through that company that you work with? And that is where satisfaction comes from.